All right, we are up to chapter 49, verse 13. Chapter 49, verse 13. It says, Zavulun lechof yamim yishkon. Zavulun is chof yamim, by the beach of the sea he will dwell. Vehu lechof aniot, he will be at the ship's harbor. V'yarkaso al Sidon, and his end is at Sidon. What does this mean? So Rashi says, Zavulun l'chof yamim, al chof yamim, by the seashore. Tiartso, his land will be by the seashore. His land will be by the seashore. Chof ketargumo safar, like it's in Old French, it's the marsh. That's the word. It means like a border. Tadir, and that's where it'll constantly. Here, grab a chumash, my friends. Here, grab a chumash, and take some. Here, put this. Hold on one second. Let me put this down here so people can take. Here, you want some pizza, Eitan?
Thank you.
Sure. Then put it down here so people can take some pizza. Take some pizza, and then we'll study. And you grab the chumash. Did you get a chumash? Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, did you get your pizza, Kobe? Go. You don't like pizza?
No, I do.
It's down there. Go get a piece. I just moved it all down there because that way people wouldn't be walking right in front of me. Okay. So that's what we're saying. That hello, Seth. How you doing?
Thanks.
All right. So we're saying that we're up to Zavulun in chapter 49, verse 13. That Zavulun is by the seashore, and b'makom hanamal, he's at the side of the harbor. That the ships, shaniyot meviot sham parakmatia, they bring there their business. And now this is a very famous and important point. What page are we on, Monty?
270.
270, Kobe.
I think it's the other.
Other what? No, you got the right book.
The right one?
Yeah, come on. Moshe, we need to give you a black one. Black paper.
You know, I left the black one at home. You know what's crazy? This is my dad's.
Oh, that's crazy. You're right.
That is crazy.
All right.
Because I keep losing obsession.
Okay. All right. So Zavulun is. So what do we know about Zavulun? Zavulun osek b'pragmatia. Zavulun would engage in business. Umamtzi mazon l'shevet Yisachar, and he would provide food for the tribe of Yisachar. V'hemoskim miTorah. And they would study Torah. So Zavulun would engage in the business, and Yisachar would study Torah. And that's what it means when Moshe said, Tzemach Zavulun b'tzeisecha v'Yisachar bo'alecha. Rejoice, Zavulun, in your going forth, and Yisachar in your tents. Zvulun yotzei b'pragmatia v'Yisachar osek b'Torah bo'alam. So they have a partnership. Did anybody ever hear of the Yisachar Zavulun partnership? Okay, to this day, people do it. So Yisachar studies Torah, and Zavulun goes into business. So let's say there's somebody. Do you want a drink, by the way? A soda with you? So let's say there's somebody who's in businessman, and there's another guy who's studying Torah all day. So they want to engage. The businessman goes to the Torah study person and says, I have a deal for you. Will you be willing to accept it? You give me half of your reward for Torah study, and I'll support you. And they make a contract. It's called the Yisachar Zavulun contract, where they give each other their thing. What do you think of that? Hello, Neve. So I've seen these with my own eyes. Here, grab a chumash from over there. From the exactly everybody who's getting the better end of the deal. I tell you, I promise you, this is what happened in recently. There's a boy who comes to the yeshiva, and his car, he got into a little fender bender, and he had to do $1,500 worth of repairs. So the guy who owned the repair shop was a very religious man, and he said to the boy, I'll give you the repairs for free if you give me 100 hours of Torah study. That your 100 hours, you give me the reward. Who do you think got the better end of the deal? So So that anyway, they did the deal. So that's called Yisachar Zevulun. So that's why Zevulun's by the seashore doing the ships, and Yisachar is in the is doing the Torah study. Next pasuk, verse 14. Yisachar chamor garem. Yisachar is a strong-boned donkey. Rovates bein mishpatayim, crouching between the boundaries. Rashi says, chamor baal atzamot. He's a strong-boned donkey. Sovel all Torah, who bears the yoke of Torah. Kachamor chazak, like a strong donkey. Shematinin oso masoy kaved, which they load up with a heavy burden. So Yisachar is that why are they calling him a strong-boned donkey? Because he's holding the yoke of Torah. He's holding the yoke of Torah. He's holding the burden of Torah. Torah is a big, heavy thing to have to hold. And he's crouching between the boundaries. Like a donkey walks day and night. Never sleeps in their home. But when he wants to rest, he lies down between the limits of the cities where he brings his business. Okay, so that's Yisachar. Vayar menucha kitov, and he sees a resting place, sees that it's good. That the aretz, and he sees the land kinaema, because it's pleasant. Vayechi chmo espol, and he bent his shoulder to bear it. Vahiu amas oved, and he became an indentured laborer. What's going on here, Rashi says? Vayar menucha kitov, and he sees a resting place that it's good. Ra'ala chalko eretz mivorechet. He sees his portion a blessed land. V'tova lahotzi peiros, and it's good for yielding fruits. Vayechi chmo espol, and he bends down his shoulder to bear the yoke of Torah. What does this mean? Rashi says, and he became for all of his brothers an indentured borer. L'spok lahem horaot shel Torah, to provide decisions of Torah. V'sidrei iburin, arrangements of the leap years. And so Yisachar became those, Mibnei Yisachar Yodei Bina Litim, they became the scholars to know what Israel should do. Rashehem Osayim, they established 200 courts, and all their brothers acted by their word. Okay, so this is the idea. The Rashi is saying when it says they carried it, it means that they carried the yoke of Torah and they were giving all the rulings to everybody. But alternatively, Vayechi chmo. Okay, what does it mean? So Vayechi chmo, Hishpil shechmo, he lowered his shoulder. Onkelos translates it as Vayechi chmo espol melchamot. He bends his shoulder to bear battles, conquer territories, because they were Shehem Yoshvim al Sapar. They live on the border. V'yoyev kavush tachtav. Yisachar was the people who lived on the border. Oh, Mordechai and Aviva, so great to see you. Thank you for coming to study with us in the pouring rain. In the pouring rain, we really appreciate you. What? Pouring rain. We really appreciate all of you coming out in this rain. Really make us proud to be associated with you. Now we're up to the blessing of the tribe of Dan. Verse 16. What is Dan? Who can name, interestingly, before I go into this, who is the one who comes from Dan? Anybody know which tribe comes, which famous descendant comes from Dan? There's really only one. Anybody know? Very good. Very good. So Rashi is going to associate the tribe of Dan with Samson. Look what Rashi says. Dan yadinamo yinkom nikmasamo. He will avenge. Dan will gain justice for his people, like one of the tribes of Israel. Kachad shiftei Yisrael. What does that mean? Yinkom nikmasamo. He will avenge the vengeance of his people from the Philistines. Oh, today we're studying Torah. I just want to say we're studying Torah. All this Torah is being studied in the memory of Ephraim Jackman. He's a young boy. He's maybe 19 years old or 20 years old. And he rushed to volunteer as a chayal, and he died today in Gaza. And I saw the note from Dan Jacobson. He was Elaine's grandson's best friend. And just last night, Elaine's grandson had asked his father if this boy could be a witness at his upcoming wedding. And now we are his witnesses by studying Torah in his memory. So, Ke'achad Shiftei Yisrael, Kol Yisrael Yu Ke'achad Imo. All of Israel will be like one with him. As Kulam Yadin, and all of them, he will vindicate them all. And this was a prophecy about Samson, about Shimshon Niban Nebuazil. This was a prophecy about Shams. See, this is methodologically something to remember about Rashi. Rashi views here a Niv, offer Mordechai and Aviva, see if they want a piece of pizza. So he says that Rashi methodologically views the whole Torah as connected. So if it says here that Dan is going to judge, Rashi is going to assume that this is a reference to a later portion of the Torah where somebody from the book from the tribe of Dan acted as a judge. So that's why Rashi is going to try to view the whole Torah as basically all-inclusive, connecting to everything. Like they're not introducing facts that we don't know about. So, alternatively, what does it mean he's like one of the tribes of Israel? Like the unique one amongst the tribes, which is David, David that he is like, meaning to say, Samson is compared to David. And now we say a very powerful verse. Yehidan nachash alei derech. Dan will be a snake on the highway. Shififon alei ruach, a serpent on the path. Hanoshech ikvesus, he bites a horse's heels. V'yipol rochvo achor, he bites a horse's heels, and the horse rider will fall backwards. What does that mean? He bites a horse's heel. So Dan is like a viper on the road biting a horse's heel, and so the horse falls backwards. What happens when you bite a horse on the heel and the horse falls backwards and the rider falls backwards? That's how Dan, you view it like a snake, but he's able to kill the mighty horses. Let's see what Rashi says. Rashi says, Dan is a nachash, shfifon is a nachash, it's a serpent. Why is it called a shfifon? Because al shem shu no shef, because it hisses. This is what's called, I believe this word is onomatopoeia. You know what onomatopoeia is? You know what it is? It means like when the word...
Like the word sounds like what it is. Like
exactly.
Say like ding dong for a bell or...
Okay.
You know,
or, no, maybe it's not exactly.
Like it sounds like what it is.
Exactly. So or the buzz of the doorbell. So this word shififon is that Rashi's saying it's like a hiss. Al shem shushon no shef, because it hisses. I thought teshufenu akev will hiss at the heel, like shh, hissing. Hello, Reb David. Have a slice of pizza, Reb David. Yeah. I suspect you of something, David. Are you the one who brought the whitefish?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. A whitefish appeared in our refrigerator, and I said, "This smells like a gift from Reb David." I know Sheikh Ikvesus. It bites a horse's heel. Kach darko shel nachash. That's what a snake does. And Jacob compares Dan to a snake. V'dimo nachash hanoshech ikvesus, who bites a horse's heel. V'yipol rochvo achor, and its rider falls backwards. Shelo nagabo, because the snake did not touch the rider. And we compare this, we find a similar phrase by Shimshon. Okay. Onkelos gives a different explanation. So Rashi says he bites the horse's heel and the horse falls backwards. Onkelos gives a different explanation. Nachash is like Yechivei Chorman, like a shurman, like a Chorman snake. It's a type of snake, Shemin Nachash, Shein Refuah L'Neshichato, where you can't be healed. Utziponi, it's the viper. The Karoi Chorman al Shem Sha'osa Kol Chayrim. It's called Chorman because it lays waste to everything. Ukafitna Kamo Peten. Okay. And the last pasuk about Dan is Lishuatcha Kiviti Hashem. For your salvation do I long, Hashem. What is going on here? Rashi says, Jacob was prophesizing about Samson. Philistines are going to put out his eyes. And Samson, right before he dies, he says, remember me, God, this time. The people who are against the Jewish people, the people who want to attack the Jews wherever they are, criticize Samson as saying he's the first suicide bomber, because Samson's an example of somebody who killed himself in the Bible in order to bring a redemption to the Jewish people. Now up to the tribe of Gad. God Gadud Yigudenu. You know what you call in Hebrew a unit of troops? It's called a Gadud. God. It's from this word right here. God Gadud Yigudenu. A troop will troop forth from God, V'hu Yagud Akev, and he will troop back on his tracks. What does that mean? God Gadud Yigudenu. A troop will troop forth from God. What is this a reference to? Rashi says they're all words of troops. I'm not going to read this, Rashi, because it's too complicated. But he says, Rashi says, all of his troops will return to their tracks, to their possession, that they took on the other side of the Jordan. They won't lose a man. Basically, it doesn't mean that they're retreating in defeat. It means that God will be mighty warriors. So who is the one who comes from God, the mighty warriors? Who is this a reference to? I don't know. Akev, the Darkam Silatam Shalom, the way they go, they'll return. This is, by the way, I could say a prayer for what we have now in the land of Israel. We have all the Jewish boys, our soldiers. We pray that this prophecy becomes fulfilled through them. God Gadud Yigudenu V'hu Yagud Akev, that they may all be able to come back. That's the prayer from God. That's the prayer from the tribe of God, that they Yagud Akev, that the whole Gadud will return.
And some women too.
The whole troop is, yeah. First of all, the women are incredibly brave. The women fighting in the army, for sure. Although since the on October 7th is a very famous story which everybody should try to learn about how an all-women's tank heroically saved an entire kibbutz. And they're saying that this is the first time in warfare history that an all-women's tank was involved in a battle. And it's an incredible story. And if anybody wants to see a story about incredibly brave people, look at that story about this all-women's tank. That's all I just want to say to you. So, okay, so now, I don't know, who's the 212 number who joined us on the Zoom? I don't know who that is, but okay, unusual. All right, Me'asher, from Asher, Shmei Nalach Mo, V'hu Yitain Manei Melach. This is Asher. Who is Asher? This is the tribe of Asher. What's the tribe of Asher? Shmei Nalach Mo. His bread is rich or fatty. V'hu Yitain Manei Melach, and he will provide kingly delicacies. What does that mean? Rashi says, Me'asher Shmei Nalach Mo. From Asher, his bread is rich. Ma'achal, his food, Habami Chalkosho Asher, which comes from the portion of Asher, Shamein will be rich. She is Zaytim Merubim. They'll have many olives, Bechalko. And Asher is producing olive oil. Humoshech Shem will draw forth the oil like a spring. And that's how Moshe blessed him, V'tovel b'shem and raglo, that he's going to dip his feet in oil, like we learned in Menachos. Pamachat hutzruchu anshe Lutkia. This is a very, very powerful story, which I'm going to tell you. There was one time the people of Laodikia needed oil. This appears in the Gemara. We did this in the Daf Yomi. Where was this story? I forget exactly the page in the Talmud. I think it's in Menachos. Yeah, it's in Menachos on 85b. So the one time there were people in Laodikia needed olive oil. So they appointed a non-Jewish person and they said to him, go bring us 1 million maneh of oil. That is 140,000 gallons of olive oil. It's a lot of olive oil, okay? They say, go bring us 140,000 gallons of olive oil. He went to Jerusalem and he said, can you give me 140,000 gallons of oil? They said, oh, we don't have it here. You have to go to Tyre. Tyre is up north. He went to Tyre and they said to him, no, go to Gush Chalav, which is in Asher's territory. So there they told him, you gotta have to go to this field. Once you go to that field, you'll find all this oil. They went and they found a man, and this man was digging ditches around his olive trees. They said to him, do you have 1,000,000 manna of olive oil? And he said, wait until I finish my work and then I'll be able to help you. He waited until they finished. After he finished his work, he slung his tools over his shoulders, began picking up stones and throwing them out to the orchard, which they thought he was just a hired worker. And so they said, could this person possibly have 1,000,000 manna of oil? He has nothing. I think the Jews are playing a trick on me. Once they arrived at the town of the orchard owner, his slave woman brought out a jug of hot water for him, and he washed his hands and feet. And at that point, she brought him a golden cup filled with oil, and he dipped his hands and feet in it. In fulfillment of the verse, he will dip his feet in oil. After they had eaten and drunk, he measured out 1,000,000 manna of oil. And he said, do you need any more? And the emissary said, yes, but I do not have sufficient money. He said, if you want to take it. I'll come along with you and collect the rest of it. He measured out another 180,000 manna of oil. They say that the man hired every horse, mule, camel, and donkey in the land of Israel to carry the oil. Once the emissary returned to his town, the people came out to praise him. He said, don't praise me, but rather this man who comes with me, who measured out 1,000,000 manna of oil for me, and to whom I still owe for an additional 180,000. And this is fulfillment of the verse, and this is the verse from Proverbs chapter 13. There's someone who acts like a rich man but has nothing, and someone who acts like a poor man, though he has great wealth. And that was this man with the olive oil from Asher. The town of Ladukia got its oil. So this is a very powerful story from the Talmud. What's the meaning of the story? Meaning of the story, there's a lot of meanings. What do you think the meaning is?
Just like basically don't judge a book by its cover, because
That's also for sure meaning.
but like just the ordinary person that is doing their job and working is going to produce a lot of fruit, whatever, just by working hard.
Well, I think so. Yeah, I also think that that's the point of the story for me is that the prophecy of Jacob about Asher was fulfilled. Jacob promised that you're going to have olive oil and you're going to dip it in your feet, and people were laughing at it. Who's going to dip their feet in olive oil? But yes, you are. Were you trying to say something, David? You're looking with interest, and I know you have that expression. Your mind is working overtime. Okay, so now, yes, Neve.
Have you like the small town of Asher compared to Yerushalayim, Tyre, the big cities? You don't have the big cities. That's where you have all the supplies, but really no, it's small.
Very, yeah. That's you should bring that. That's a very very good point. Also, that, and here he was, this guy he thought he was a country bumpkin, and he was indeed this salt of the earth guy who had a lot of olive oil. And the Talmud associates in Menachos olive oil with wisdom. So, okay. So now we go up to the next verse. It says, Naphtali is an ayala shlucha. Naphtali is a hind. An ayala is like a gazelle. Shlucha, that was sent off. I know Saint Imre Shefer. So Naphtali is compared to a hind that was sent off that carries Imre Shefer, that carries beautiful sayings. When I was in, hello, Rebbe Yamin. Oh, okay, yeah, we have to dive in. I'll just tell you, when I was in Yeshiva University, they had a award for the best writing by a rabbinical student, and they called it the Imre Shefer Award. Who can write the most eloquent essay as a rabbinical student about Torah? Okay, so now it's time for us to dive in. A big shkoyach to everybody. Wonderful to study Torah with you today. Okay.